Okay. Levando. Sono evidenti. Oh, good. 1 Samuel 28. One Samuel 28, New American Standard Bible. 1. Oh, this guy is finished. Now it came about in those days that the Philistines gathered their armed camps for war to fight against Israel. And Achish said to David, "Know assuredly that you will go out with me in the camp, you and your men." To David said to Achish, "Very well, you shall know what your servant can do." So Achish said to David, "Very well, I will make you my bodyguard for life." 3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him, and buried him in Ramah, his own city, and Shaul had removed from the land those who were mediums and spirits. 4. So the Philistines gathered together and came and camped in Shunem, and Saul gathered all Israel together, and they camped in Gilboa. 5. When Saul inquired of the Lord did not answer him, either by dreams or by Urim or by prophets. 7. Then Saul said to his servants, Seek for me a woman. Seek for me. Where am I? Then Saul said to his servants, Seek for me a woman who is a medium, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servants said to him, Behold, there is a woman who is a medium at Endor, Endor. 8. Then Saul disguised himself by putting on other clothes, and went, he and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night, and he said, Conjure up for me, please, and bring up for me whom I shall name to you. 9. But the woman said to him, Behold, you know what Saul has done, how he has cut off those who are mediums and spirits from the land. Why are you then laying a snare for my life to bring about my death? 10. Saul vowed to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord lives, no punishment shall come upon you for this thing. 11. Then the woman said, Whom shall I bring up for you? And he said, Bring up Samuel for me. 12. When the woman saw Samuel, she cried out with a loud voice, and the woman spoke to Saul, saying, Why have you deceived me? For you are Saul. 13. The king said to her, Do not be afraid, but what do you see? And the woman said to Saul, I see a divine being coming up out of the earth. 14. He said to her, what is his form? And she said, an old man is coming up, and he is wrapped with a robe. And Saul knew that it was Samuel, and he bowed with his face to the ground and did homage. 15. Then Samuel said to Saul, why have you disturbed me? Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up? And Saul answered, I am greatly distressed, for the Philistines are waging war against me, and God has departed from me, and no longer answers me, either through prophets or by dreams. Therefore I have called you, that you may make known to me what I should do. 16. Samuel said, why then do you ask me, since the Lord has departed from you and has become your adversary? 17. The Lord has done accordingly as he spoke through me, for the Lord has torn the kingdom out of your hand and given it to your neighbor, to David. 18. As you did not obey the Lord and did not execute his fierce wrath on Amalek, so the Lord has done this thing to you this day. 19. Moreover, the Lord will also give over Israel along with you into the hands of the Philistines. Therefore tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. Indeed, the Lord will give over the army of Israel into the hands of the Philistines. 20. Then Samuel immediately fell full length upon the ground and was very afraid because of the words of Samuel. Also there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no food all day and all night. 21. The woman came to Saul and saw that he was terrified, and said to him, behold, your maidservant has obeyed you, and I have taken my life in my hand, and I have listened to your words which you spoke to me. 1 Samuel 28, New American Standard Bible 22. So now also please listen to the voice of your maidservant, and let me set a piece of bread before you, that you may eat and have strength when you go on your way. 10:3. But he refused and said, I will not eat. However, his servants together with the woman urged him, and he listened to them. So he arose from the ground and sat on the bed. 10:4. The woman had a fattened calf in the house, and she quickly slaughtered it, and she took flour kneaded, 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 is it kneaded it, and baked unleavened bread from it. 25. She brought it before Saul and his servants, and they ate. Then they arose. Then they arose and went away that night. 1 Samuel 29, New American Standard Bible. 1. Now the Philistines gathered together all their armies to epic where the Israelites were camping by the spring, which is in Jezreel. I'm learning to read, and I'm learning to speak this language called English. I will learn it. It's the language that, by the way, I speak most. I speak English more than the languages which are here, and English challenges me, but at least I try. I love it because it's simplified, and it's the language that's there. Are you talking to yourself even? There's some guy I want a minute. I have to finish. It's amazing to read the Bible. The Bible has some real vocabulary that is interesting. Some words are hard, but it's like it's having everything, and I want to understand what they are saying. What are these guys saying? That's what I want. And it's amazing to chase after things. Today I loved it. I just about coming here, because the other day I was denied coming here. but today I chased it. And I'm here. I would love it. I would clap for myself. If I was here in real life, if I was still here, I would clap for myself. I would clap for myself. There's some guy I need to turn on. It was very unfair of me to leave him out because it's just minutes, seconds, and it's on. And that's all I want, to be on. To be on. That's all I want, to be on. That's all I want, to be on. I think you are on. It's on. Yeah. It's on. You are on. It's 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 on. Okay. You are on. That's what I wanted. Jezreel 2. And the lords of the Philistines were proceeding on by hundreds and thousands, and David and his men were proceeding on in their rear with Achish. 3. Then the commanders of the Philistines said, "What are these Hebrews doing here?" And Achish said to the commanders of the Philistines, "Is this not David, the servant of Saul, the king of Israel, who has been with me these days, or rather these years, and I have found no fault in him from the day he deserted to me to this day?" 4. But the commanders of the Philistines were angry with him, and the commanders of the Philistines said to him, "Make the man go back, that he may return to his place where you have assigned him, and do not let him go down to battle with us, or in the battle he may become an adversary to us. For with what could this man make himself acceptable to his Lord? Would it not be with the heads of these men?" 5. Is this not David, of whom they sing in the dances, saying, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. 6. Then Achish called David and said to him, "As for the Lord lives, you have been upright, and your going out and your coming in with me in the army are pleasing in my sight, for I have not found evil in you from the day of your coming to me to this day. Nevertheless, you are not pleasing in the sight of the Lord." 7. Now therefore return and go in peace, that you may not displease the lords of Philistines. And David said to Achish, "But what have I done, and what have you found in your servant from the day when I came before you to this day, that I may not go and fight against the enemies of my lord the king?" 9. But Achish replied to David, "I know that you are pleasing in my sight like an angel of God. Nevertheless, the commanders of the Philistines have said, he must not go up with us to the battle." 10. Now then arise early in the morning with the servants of your Lord who have come with you, and as soon as you have arisen early in the morning and have light, depart. 11. So David arose early, he and his men, to depart in the morning to return to the land of the Philistines, and the Philistines went up to Jezreel. 1 Samuel 30, New American Standard Bible. 1. Then it happened when David and his men came to Ziklag on the third day, and the Amalekites had made a raid on the Negev and on Ziklag, and had overthrown Ziklag and buried it with fire. 2. And they took captive the women and all who were in it, both small and great, without killing anyone, and carried them off and went their way. 3. When David and his men came to the city, behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters had been taken captive. 4. Then David and the people who were with him lifted their voices and wept until there was no strength in them to weep. 5. Now David's 2 wives had been taken captive, Ahinoam the Jezreelites, and Abigail, the widow of Nabal the Carmelite. 6. Moreover, David was greatly distressed because the people spoke of stoning him, for all the people were embittered, each one because of his sons and his daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. 7. Then David said to Abiathar, the priest, and the son of Amalek, please bring me the ephod. So Abiathar brought the ephod to David. 8. David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I pursue this band? Shall I overtake them? And he said to him, pursue, for you will surely overtake them, and you will surely rescue all. 9. So David went, he and the 600 men who were with him, and came to the brook Besor, where those left behind remained. 10. But David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 who were too exhausted to cross the brook Besor remained behind. 11. Now they found an Egyptian in the field and brought him to David and gave him bread, and he ate, and they provided him water to drink. 12. They gave him a piece of fig cake and 2 clusters of raisins, and he ate. Then his spirit revived, for he had not eaten bread or drank water for 3 days and 3 nights. 13. David said to him, to whom do you belong, and where are you from? And he said, I am a young man of Egypt, a servant of Amalekite, and my master left me behind when I fell sick 3 days ago. 14. We made a raid on the Negev of the Chethets, and on that which belongs to Judah, and on the Negev of Caleb, and we burned Ziklag with fire. 15. Then David said to him, will you bring me down to this band? And he said, swear to me by God that you will not kill me or deliver me into the hands of my master, and I will bring you down to this band. 16. When he had brought him down, behold, they were spread over all the land, eating and drinking and dancing, because of all the great spoil that they had taken from the land of the Philistines and from the land of Judah. 17. David slaughtered them from the twilight until the evening of the day, and not a man of them escaped except 400 young men who rode on camels and fled. 18. So David recovered all that the Amalekites had taken and rescued his 2 wives. 19. But nothing of theirs was missing, whether small or great, sons or daughters, spoil or anything that they had taken for themselves. David brought it all back. 20. So David had captured all the sheep and the cattle which the people drove ahead of the other livestock, and they said, this is David's spoil. 21. When David came to the 200 men who were too exhausted to follow David, who had also been left at the brook Besor, and they went out to meet David and to meet the people who were with him. Then David approached the people and greeted them. 22. Then all the wicked and worthless men among those who went with David said, because they did not go with us, we will not give them any of the spoil that we have recovered, except to every man his wife and his children, that they may lead them away and depart. 1 Samuel 30, New American Standard Bible 23. Then David said, you must not do so, my brothers, with what the Lord has given us, who has kept us and delivered into our hand the band that came against us. 24. And who will listen to you in this matter? For as his share is who goes down to the battle, so shall his share be who stays by the baggage. They shall share alike. 25. So it has been from that day forward that he made it a statute and an ordinance for Israel to this day. 26. Now when David came to Ziklag, he sent some of the spoil to the elders of Judah, to his friends, saying, behold, a gift for you from the spoil of the enemies of the Lord. 27. To those who were in Bethel, and to those who were in Ramoth of the Negev, and to those who were in Jattah. 28. And to those who were in Aroah, and to those who were in Sepmoth, and to those who were in Estemoa. 29. And to those who were in Rachel, and to those who were in the cities of Jeremelites, and to those who were in the cities of the Kenites. 30. And to those who were in Homa, and to those who were in Borashan, and to those who were in Atach. 31. And to those who were in Hebron, and to all the places where David himself and his men were accustomed to go. 1 Samuel 31, New American Standard Bible 1. Now the Philistines were fighting against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines and fell slain on Mountain Gilboa. 2. The Philistines overtook Saul and his sons, and the Philistines killed Jonathan and Abinadab and Malchishah, the sons of Saul. 3. The battle went heavily against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was badly wounded by the archers. 4. Then Saul said to his armor-bearer, draw your sword and pierce me through with it, otherwise these uncircumcised will come and pierce me through and make sport of me. But his armor-bearer would not, for he was greatly afraid. So Saul took his sword and fell on it. 5. When his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he also fell on his sword and died with him. 6. Thus Saul died with his 3 sons, his armor-bearer, and all his men on that day together. 7. When the men of Israel who were on the other side of the valley with those who were beyond the Jordan saw that the men of Israel had fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they abandoned the cities and fled. Then the Philistines came and lived in them. 8. It came about on the next day, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, that they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen on Mount Gilboa. On Mount Gilboa. On Mount Gilboa. 9. They cut off his head and stripped off his weapons and sent them throughout the land of the Philistines to carry the good news to the house of their idols and to the people. 10. They put his weapons in the temple of Ashtaroth, and they fastened his body to the wall of Beshan. 11. Now when the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, too, all the valiant men rose and walked all night, and they took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Beth-shan, and they came to Jabesh and burnt them there. 13. They took their bones and buried them under the tamarisk tree at Jabesh and fasted 7 days. 2 Samuel 2 Samuel 1, New American Standard Bible 1. Now it came about after the death of Saul, when David had returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, that David remained 2 days in Ziklag. 2. And it happened on the third day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes torn and dust on his head. And it came about when he came to David that he fell to the ground and prostrated himself. 3. Then David said to him, From where do you come? And he said to him, I have escaped from the camp of Israel. 4. And David said to him, How did things go? Please tell me. And he said, The people have fled from the battle, and also many of the people have fallen and are dead, and Saul and Jonathan his son are dead also. 5. So David said to the young man who told him, How do you know that Saul and his son Jonathan are dead? 6. And the young man who told him said, By the chance I happened to be on Mount Gil, and behold, Saul was leaning on his spear, and behold, the chariots and the horsemen pursued him closely. 7. And when he looked behind, he saw me and called to me, and I said, Here I am. 8. And he said to me, Who are you? And I answered him, I am Amalekite. 9. Then he said to me, Please stand beside me and kill me, for agony has seized me, because my life still lingers in me. 10. So I stood beside him and killed him, because I knew that he could not live after he had fallen. And I took the crown which was on his head and the bracelet which was on his arm, and I have brought them here to my Lord. 11. Then David took hold. Then David took hold of his clothes and tore them, and so also did all the men who were with him. 12. And they moaned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and his son Jonathan, and for the people of the Lord and the house of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. 13. And David said to the young man who told him, Where are you from? And he answered, I am the son of an alien, an Amalekite. 14. Then David said to him, How is it you were not afraid to stretch out your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? 15. And David called one of the young men and said, Go, cut him down, for he struck him and he died. 16. And David said to him, Your blood is on your head, for your mouth has testified against you, saying, I have killed the Lord's anointed. 17. Then David chanted with this lament over Saul and Jonathan his son. 18. And he told them to teach the sons of Judah the song of Bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. 19. Your beauty, O Israel, is slain on your beauty, O Israel, is slain on your high places. 20. Tell it not in Gath. 21. O mountains of Gilboa. 22. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty. 23. Saul and Jonathan, beloved and pleasant in their life. 25. O daughters of Israel, weep over Saul. 25. How have the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle. 26. I am distressed for you, my brother Jonathan. 27. How have the mighty fallen. 2 Samuel 2, New American Standard Bible 1. Then it came about afterwards that David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up to one of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said to him, Go up. So David said, Where shall I go up? And he said, To Hebron. And he said, To Hebron. 2. So David went up there, and his 2 wives also, Abinoam the Jezreelites, and Abigail the widow of Nabal the Carmelite. 3. And David brought up his men who were with him, each with his household, and they lived in the cities of Hebron. 4. Then the men of Judah came, and they anointed David king over the house of Judah, and they told David, saying, it was the men of Jabesh Gilead who buried Saul. 5. David sent messengers to the men of Jabesh Gilead and said to them, may you be blessed of the Lord, because you have shown this kindness to Saul your Lord, and have buried him. 6. Now may the Lord show loving kindness and truth to you, and I also will show this goodness to you, because you have done this thing. 7. Now therefore let your hands be strong and be valiant, for Saul your Lord is dead, and also the house of Judah has anointed me king over them. 8. But Abner, the son of Ner, commander of Saul's army, had taken Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim. 9. He made him king over Gilead, over the Ashurites, over Jezreel, over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, even over all Israel. 10. Ishbosh. Saul's son was 40 years old when he became king over Israel, and he was king for 2 years. The house of Judah, however, followed David. 11. The time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. 12. Now Abner, the son of Ner, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon with the servants of Ashbosh, the son of Saul. 13. And Joab, the son of Zuriah, and the servants of David went out and met them by the pool of Gibeon, and they sat down, one on the one side of the pool and the other on the other side of the pool. 14. Then Abner said to Joab, now let the young men arise and hold a contest before us. And Joab said, let them arise. 15. So they arose and went over by count 12 for Benjamin, and Ishbosh the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. 16. Each one of them seized his opponent by the head and thrust his sword in his opponent's side, so they fell down together. Therefore that place was called Helkath Hazrim, which is in Gibeon. 17. That day the battle was very severe, and Abner and the men of Israel were beaten before the servants of David. 18. Now the 3 sons of Zuriah were there, Joab and Abishai and Asahel, and Asahel was as swift-footed as one of the gazelles which is in the field. 19. Asahel pursued Abner and did not turn to the right or to the left from following Abner. 20. Then Abner looked behind him and said, is that you, Asahel? And he answered, it is I. 21. So Abner said to him, turn to your right or to your left, and take hold of one of the young men for yourself, and take for yourself his spoil. But Asahel was not willing to turn aside from following him. 22. Abner repeated again to Asahel, turn aside from following me. Why should I strike you to the ground? How could I lift up my face to your brother Joab? 23. However, he refused to turn aside. Therefore Abner struck him in the belly with the butt end of the spear, so that the spear came out at his back, and he fell there and died on the spot. And it came about that all who came to the place where Asahel had fallen and died, stood still. 24. But Joab and Abishai pursued Abner, and when the sun was going down, they came to the hill of Amaha, which is in front of Jiah, by the way of the wilderness of Gibeon. 2 Samuel 2, New American Standard Bible. 25. The sons of Benjamin gathered together behind Abner and became one band, and they stood on the top of a certain hill. 26. Then Abner called to Joab and said, Shall the sword devour forever? Do you not know that it will be bitter in the end? How long will you refrain from telling the people to turn back from following their brothers? 27. Joab said, As God lives, if you had not spoken, surely then the people would have gone away in the morning, each from following his brother. 28. So Joab blew the trumpet, and all the people halted and pursued Israel no longer, nor did they continue to fight anymore. 29. Abner and his men then went through the Arabah all that night. So they crossed the Jordan, walked all morning, and came to Mahanaim. 30. Then Joab returned from following Abner when he had gathered all the people together. 19 of David's servants besides Asahel were missing. 31. But the servants of David had struck down many of Benjamin and Abner's men, so that 360 men died. 32. And they took up Asahel and buried him in his father's tomb, which was in Bethlehem. Then Joab and his men went all night until the day dawned at Hebron. 2 Samuel 3, New American Standard Bible. 1. Now there was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, and David grew steadily stronger, but the house of Saul grew weaker continually. 2 Sons were born to David at Hebron. His firstborn was Amnon by Ahinoam the Jezreelites. 3 And his second Chileb by Abigail, the widow of Nabal the Carmelite. And the third Ashlom, the son of Machah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Jeshurun. 4 And the fourth Adonijah, the son of Haggis. And the fifth Shephatiah, the son of Abital. 5 And the sixth Ithrim by David's wife Eglah. These were born to David at Hebron. 6 It came about while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David that Abner was making himself strong in the house of Saul. 7 Now Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah. And Ishbosheth said to Abner, Why have you gone into my father's concubine? 8 Then Abner was very angry over the words of Ishbosheth and said, Am I a dog's head that belongs to Judah? Today I show kindness to the house of Saul your father, to his brothers, and to his friends, and have not delivered you into the hands of David, and yet today you charge me with a guilt concerning the woman. 9 May God do so to Abner, and more also, if as the Lord has sworn to David, I do not accomplish this for him. 10 To transfer the kingdom from the house of Saul, and to establish the throne of David over Israel and over Judah, from Dan even to Beersheba. 11 And he could no longer answer Abner a word, because he was afraid of him. 12 Then Abner sent messengers to David in his place, saying, Whose is the land Make your covenant with me, and behold, my hand shall be with you to bring all Israel over to you. 13. He said, good, I will make a covenant with you, but I demand one thing of you, namely, you shall not see my face unless you first bring Michal, Saul's daughter, when you come to see me. 14. So David sent messengers to Eshbosh, Saul's son, saying, give me my wife, Michal, to whom I was bet roast for 100 foreskins of the Philistines. I think I have to go, man. Finish this and go. David sent messengers to Eshbosheth, Saul's son, saying, give me my wife, Michal, to whom I was betrothed for betrothed for 100 foreskins of the Philistines. 15. Eshbosh sent and took her from her husband from Paltiel, the son of Laish. 16. But her husband went with her, weeping as he went, and followed her as far as Bahurim. Then Abner said to him, go, return. So he returned. 17. Now Abner had consultation with the elders of Israel, saying, in times past you were seeking for David to be king over you. 18. Now then do it, for the Lord has spoken of David, saying, by the hand of my servant David I will save my people Israel from the hand of the Philistines and from the hand of all their enemies. 19. Abner also spoke in the hearing of Benjamin, and in addition Abner went to speak in the hearing of David in Hebron all that seemed good to Israel and to the whole house of Benjamin. 20. Then Abner and 20 men with him came to David at Hebron, and David made a feast for Abner and the men who were with him. 21. Abner said to David, let me arise and go and gather all Israel to my lord the king, that they may make a covenant with you, and that you may be king over all that your soul desires. So David went. So David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. 22. And behold, the servants of David and Joab came from a raid and brought much spoil with them. But Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he had gone in peace. 23. When Joab and all the army that was with him arrived, they told Joab, saying, Abner the son of Ner came. The son of Ner came to the king, and he has sent him away, and he has gone in peace. 24. Then Joab came to the king and said, what have you done? Behold, Abner came to you. Why then have you sent him away, and he is already gone? 25. You know Abner the son of Ner, that he came to deceive you and to learn of your going out and coming in, and to find out all that you are doing. 2 Samuel 3, New American Standard Bible. And 6. When Joab came out from David, he sent messengers after Abner, and they brought him back from the well of Shirah, but David did not know it. 27. So when Abner returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside into the middle of the gate to speak with him privately, and there he struck him in the belly, so that he died on account of the blood of Ashahel his brother. 28. Afterward, when David heard it, he said, I and my kingdom are innocent before the Lord forever of the blood of Abner the son of Ner. 29. May it fall on the head of Joab and and all his father's house, and may there not fail from the house of Job one who has a discharge, or who is a leper, or who takes hold of this staff, or who falls by sword, or who lacks bread. So Joab and Abishai his brother killed Abner because he had put their brother Asahel to death in battle at Gibeon. 31. Then David said to Joab and to all the people who were with him, tear your clothes and gird on the sackcloth and lament before Abner. And the king David walked behind the bier. 32. Thus they buried Abner in Hebron, and the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner, and all the people wept. 33. The king chanted a lament for Abner and said, should Abner die as a fool dies? 34. Your hands were not bound, nor your feet put in fetters, as one falls before the wicked. You have fallen. And all the people wept again over him. 35. Then all the people came to persuade David to eat bread while it was still day, but David vowed, saying, may God do so to me, and more also, if I taste bread or anything else before the sun goes down. 36. Now all the people took note of it, and it pleased them, just as everything the king did pleased all the people. 37. So all the people and all Israel understood that day that it had not been the will of the king to put Abner the son of Ner to death. 38. Then the king said to his servants, do you not know that a prince and a great man has fallen this day in Israel? 39. I am weak today, though anointed king, and these men, the sons of Zuriam, are too difficult for me. May the Lord repay the evildoer according to his evil. I have to go, man. Fucking going right now. To go now. I have 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 to go now.